take a look at this section is representative of one of the 10 layouts. And like I said, it's dominantly the image that would have the circus layout. It could also be thought of as a silhouette because of the character and the picture window, but the four elements of the ad has the headline at the top, has the copy, which is rotating around in all these different icons with a subheading, and then it has the artwork, which is the landscape with the snowman in front of it. What I'd like you to do is just to take a look at trying to create that piece. And in the layers, if you're used to doing this, again, it has it listed as a flyer reference. So just double click in the blue part of that section, lock and dim this part down so you can kind of see through it still at the same time and creating the layer above it. So we've done that process before, but then as you go through all the different parts with the gradients, those were items that you can place in. And again, just trying to review a little bit, if you start in with the gradients and just click on the first one, it'll give you the sub-menu, extending this down and also taking a look at the large thumbnail view so you can actually see some of these. And if it's an item that you like, click on it and just go through the library and toggle through to see if there's any other ones that you can quickly assimilate to that you might want to use. And as you click them, it'll populate itself into that screen. And again, there's some different views or different setups, whether it's a radial, linear gradient. It'll give you that initial startup. So it's trying to get you pieces. And all those can be edited once they're applied, as you know. So it's trying to give you as many different options as possible. And as it goes through that piece, I'm kind of grabbing a couple that I think will work pretty good. I can either hide or delete this, but when you get into doing these images, and obviously it's a pretty simple design, still using just the basic with an outline taken and the fill taken off, and just kind of saying as you start to build this, as quickly as you can, just kind of building a snowman. If you thought you needed snow to build a snowman, not necessarily. So I'm just using the space bar with the ellipse tool to place these in there. When you see these generic graphics of the people, where they're just kind of faceless, I'm surprised they didn't use snowmen in those characters. There's a little bit more of a creative approach to it. But just zooming in with this section. And again, once you have one of these that's a duplicated image, to zoom around and to get that piece accurately placed in there. Anything that's more of a free-form image, I'll probably justify that part lately. And again, trying to use the keystrokes for it. If you start to memorize them, it just makes the workflow a little quicker as you go through it. Placing that in there. Just using the option shift. Place those items. And again, as you look at this, I'm not sure where they are creating some of these pieces. But trying to get you to take enough of a look to it. That collects it right there. To build that particular section. Again, with the elliptical tool coming around to the outside to transform it. Place that on there. Depending on whether or not as a shape builder or just overlapping the pieces, build that up. And always the best idea is to go for the simplest design first. If you backtrack on there, again, trying to find out where you're going to overlap some of these pieces. Now we've used in that design with the concept of the snowflake of doing the rotation tool to place that in there. See, just as a quick design, cutting those corners, using option. This will get you plenty of curves. And again, using that concept of the rotation. So here's the image taking the rotation tool. And you can copy it first and copy it and paste it on top of it so you have that image that you can just simply rotate it to that section. And copy and put it in front of it is going to give you that section, and you can just rotate it separately from that piece. Okay, so again, always try to get as close as you can when you're putting these together. I'm just using the space bar, and you can see how quick and easy this is. It's not a difficult graphic. The tricky part would be trying to get you to create your entire section. And something like this, you can almost see where they kind of tried to match it up, where you could just simply overlap it, and that simple curvature space bar down here. So I know I'm going to overlap that. That's not going to be a big deal. When you take a look at something like this scarf, it is one piece. But again, trying to get you to take a look at the easiest parts first when you do something like that. And again, knowing when and the best time to use the shape tool. I'm going to overlap this and draw right through it. Bringing it all the way down here. So just see if you can create this first part with the outline image on yours. As I just sketch this out for you. I'll come back for those pieces, but pretty much that's where the whole image lies right there. And again, if you're doing this section, I'm just going to duplicate a copy off to the side of it. And I'm going to take this actual piece and just move it to the right. And give everything a fill. And by giving it everything a color, at least it'll get you started in order to place that image to see which parts you're going to keep or group together or place within a segment into that section. So again, using the Pathfinder tool as a possibility, or the Shape Builder tool as a possible way to combine images together. Trying to go into that section, giving it the fill, hitting the G for gradient so that I can adjust this if it's going to be a linear gradient or such. And again, knowing the keystroke for placing this behind it. Object arrange, send to back, or send back one place with the keystroke of the Command bracket key, Command Shift bracket key. And it'll give you that particular section. So very quickly I can go through this and illustrate these pieces, knowing that I have all these on top. And by working from the back images to the front, it gives me that particular section. And here it gives me this option again to take a look at a darker image for that piece. It's trying to get me into that mode there. And right now I just have the circular gradients. Again, I can bring up other colors if I fail to grab the ones I wanted. bringing this up. Again, and then using the gradients editor, if you have the section again, giving you the circular opportunity to draw that in there. It makes it just a little bit easier. I can use the eyedrop tool to grab that again. This allows me to take this and also place it in the background of it. It gives me that section. And here's the part where you can say how you want this actual image to be. It gives me that piece right there. And again, for a basic beginning, it gives me that section pretty accurately. Taking that off. So go ahead and give this a start right there. The last part is, if you want to, you can take the entire piece, which I have, an option, and set it off to the side. And with the Pathfinder tool, I can merge it all together into one shape. And actually change that into a gradient that I can use as a shadow. And just place it behind it. That becomes an item that I can center onto the page there. Okay. Let's see if you can place that in there.